February 11th, 2026. The signal today is, well, it's loud.
Yeah.
And what we're looking at, it's not just another busy news cycle. It's not a handful of, random geopolitical accidents. This is a convergence.
Right. And, most people, they treat the news like it's the weather, just something that happens to them. A storm here, a sunny day over there.
Passive.
Exactly. But what we're seeing this week, this isn't weather, it's architecture. 3 massive structural shifts just locked into place all at once. You've got the death of Japanese pacifism, a surgical lobotomy of the Chinese military command, and the full weaponization of the European financial system.
And the official story, the one you're going to hear on the cable networks, is that these are all separate, just politics.
That's the noise.
Mm-hmm.
We're here for the math, and the math points to institutionalized conflict. The danger hasn't just increased, it's been codified into law, into finance. That sound you hear, that's the locking mechanism of a global war machine clicking into place.
Okay, let's start with the kinetic evidence. East Asia. The numbers coming out of the Japanese election last night are, staggering, is putting it mildly.
It's more than that. It's the end of a chapter. A book that opened in 1945 just slammed shut.
Let's get into the raw data here. Sane Takekichi's LDP, in coalition with the Ishin Party. They didn't just win. They took 352 out of 465 seats. That's a supermajority avalanche.
Which is the magic number.
Exactly. It's the threshold for constitutional amendment. But look deeper at the demographic breakdown. This wasn't just the old conservative base. This Sana mania with the drums in the streets, the social media blitz, it actually pulled in the Z generation, unaffiliated voters.
And you have to ask yourself why. Why does a 20-year-old in Tokyo who's only known peace and economic stagnation vote for aggressive remilitarization? It's because for 80 years, Japan's been the polite, apologetic giant. And that worked when the U.S. Navy was the only game in town. That world is gone. Takichi isn't hiding it. She calls herself the Iron Lady. They voted for a concept, peace through strength.
They looked at the neighborhood, at China's naval buildup, and made a choice.
They decided the only way to be safe is to be dangerous.
And the markets. They reacted instantly. Defense stocks are vertical. Fiscal discipline is out. Debt-fueled defense is in. But here's the friction. While Japan consolidates power, Beijing is doing the opposite.
The silence from Beijing is heavy. It's the sound of a vacuum.
We have confirmation on General Zhang Yuxia, removed, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission.
And for anyone listening who doesn't track the PLA org chart, this is monumental. This isn't just firing some manager. Zhang is red jean royalty. He and Xi Jinping grew up together. Their fathers were revolutionary comrades. He was the closest thing she had to a peer inside the military.
The official line is corruption, violations of discipline. The usual.
It's never about corruption. That's a feature of the system, not a bug. It's leverage. This is a purge. Plain and simple.
But why now? Why purge your most experienced general, your childhood friend, right when tensions with a rearming Japan are peaking, it seems? Counterintuitive.
Because she is trading competence for obedience. It's that simple. Think of it this way. Japan is sharpening its sword, honing its edge, getting ready. China is performing brain surgery on itself. She is cutting out the only generals who have the standing to look him in the eye and say no.
It feels like the purge of the rocket force last year.
It's the exact same pattern. He's hollowing out the command structure, and a paranoid army, one where generals are more afraid of their own leader than the enemy, is brittle. It guarantees obedience, sure, but it kills initiative. In a modern conflict, if you have to wait for permission from Beijing to make a move, you're already dead.
A volatile mix. An aggressive Japan facing a paranoid, hollowed-out China. Let's pivot. Second theater, the Middle East.
Where the pictures are designed to lie.
It's the 47th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. We're analyzing the broadcast feeds from Tehran. The audio is, standard stuff, chanting crowds, burning flags. They paraded the new ballistic missiles.
All of it a stage play, a production for export.
Except the production failed. There was a breach. A huge countersignal the state media couldn't scrub away fast enough.
The glitch in the matrix.
The state broadcaster, IRIB, was hacked. For several minutes, right in the middle of the president's speech. The feed was hijacked. It played a call for rebellion from the exiled prince, Reza Pahlavi.
Just think about the fragility that shows. You're projecting power, threatening to level Tel Aviv with missiles. But you can't even secure the video feed for your own birthday party.
It definitely undercuts the message of omnipotence.
It shatters it. It's a Potemkin village made of missiles. The regime projects power outward because it's rotting from the inside. The currency is worthless, inflation is out of control, and the youth are just done.
Speaking of things that are rotting,
Mm-hmm.
let's look at the peace process in Gaza, the Trump administration's Board of Peace.
A corporate structure for a war zone? It's absurd.
The data shows it's at a complete standstill. The NCAG, the technocrats who are supposed to run things, the hospitals, the power, they're literally stuck in Cairo. The yellow line, the IDF buffer zone, is closed. They have no ground access.
It's the textbook definition of implementation failure. You have suits in Washington designing a startup with org charts and funding models.
For the reality on the ground.
The reality is a prison yard. You can't run a reconstruction from a hotel in Egypt over Zoom. It's a fantasy.
And that seems to be the theme today. Systems that look good on paper but are totally disconnected from reality. Which brings us to Europe.
The energy war. This is where the kinetic meets the structural.
Russia's targeting strategy in Ukraine it's evolved. For 2 years, they hit the big power plants, obvious targets. Now they're hitting the 750 kV and 330 kV substations.
And most people hear substation and think of, a green box on their street corner. That is not what this is.
Well, these are the main nodes, the high voltage arteries.
Exactly. 750 kilovolts. That is the grid's arterial pressure.
Why there? Why focus the missiles on those specific nodes?
Because those nodes connect the nuclear power plants to the grid. Nuclear plants aren't like gas plants. You can't just flip them on and off. They need to constantly offload power to stay stable. If you sever that 750 kV line, the power has nowhere to go. The safety systems trip, and the reactor performs an emergency shutdown.
So they're not hitting the reactors directly. That'd be a PR and radiological nightmare. They're hitting the transmission lines.
To force the reactors to shut themselves down, it's brilliant and it's brutal. They're not punching the face anymore. They're severing the arteries between the heart and the limbs. It's a kill shot, an attempt to induce a systemic cardiac arrest in Ukraine's economy.
And Europe's response has been just as structural. The EU just approved a 90 billion euro loan to Ukraine. But the funding source, that's the key data point. It's coming from profits generated by frozen Russian assets.
And there it is. That's what I mean by the institutionalization of conflict.
Explain that.
Europe didn't just send a check. They have woven this war directly into their banking system. By using the interest from Russia's own money to fund the war against Russia, they've crossed a Rubicon. It sends a message. If you violate the geopolitical order, your money isn't just frozen anymore. It gets weaponized against you. That's not a temporary fix. That's a permanent change in how global finance operates. The war is on the balance sheet now.
Okay, we've laid out the board. Japan, China, Iran, Europe. But we need to make the turn now.
To pivot.
We have to shift from them to you. Because this chaos out there, it isn't staying out there. It has already crossed the border into the personal economy of everyone listening.
Correct. Most people hear this and think it's a spy novel. Wow, that's intense for Japan. They don't realize the fire is already under their own door.
So let's talk about the war shock.
The great liquidity drought.
Kevin Warsh's nomination to the U.S. Federal Reserve. And the markets are reacting violently. Gold is crashing. Silver dropped almost 30% in a single day. The 10-year Treasury is hardening around 4.2%.
And why should someone driving to work care about this? Because Kevin Warsh signals the death of the Fed put.
Define that for anyone who isn't a trader.
The Fed put was the psychological safety net. For 15 years, since '08, really, there's been an unspoken guarantee. If things get too bad, the Fed will print money, cut rates, and save asset prices. It encouraged massive risk, massive debt. Warsh is a hawk. He believes in real money. He believes pain is necessary to cleanse the system of all the bad debt and zombie companies.
And the data supports that. The crash in metals means the market thinks they won't need a hedge against inflation.
Because they believe Warsh will crush inflation by crushing liquidity. The tide of cheap money just went out. And we're all about to see who was swimming naked. The safety net is gone. It's been cut.
So money gets harder, capital gets more expensive. That's one side of the vice. At the exact same time, the ability to earn that capital is coming under direct assault. The bloodbath in the sauce sector.
The Claude crash.
Adobe, Salesforce, Thomson Reuters.
Yeah.
Billions in market value. Just gone. Wiped out in days. The catalyst. The new Anthropic Claude agents.
This is the career assassin.
These aren't just better chatbots. They're autonomous agents. They execute complex workflows.
Wow.
But why did the stock market panic so hard?
You have to connect the dots. For 20 years, the software business model was seat-based pricing. A company grows, it hires more humans, it buys more software licenses, more seats. Simple.
And the market just realized that entire model is now obsolete.
Completely. Dead. AI is no longer a tool to make a human more efficient. It's a replacement for the human in the seat. Why do I need 5 accountants and 5 Salesforce licenses when one AI agent with an API key can do the work?
So the market is betting against future human employment.
That's exactly what it's betting against. If your job involves sitting at a computer manipulating data, which is most of the white-collar world, the market is now shorting your career. The software doesn't need you to operate it anymore. The Claude crash is the sound of capital-fleeing, human-based workflows.
It's a chilling thought. This isn't blue-collar factory automation. This is white-collar obliteration. The junior analyst, the paralegal.
Gone. The ladder to the middle class has been pulled up. The computer can now climb the ladder by itself.
So we're in a pincer movement. Geopolitics drives up your cost of living. The Fed makes money expensive, and technology is destroying the value of your labor.
And the institutions you think are there to protect you, they're mutating.
Which brings us to our final data point, Venezuela.
The lesson in regime mutation.
The headline is, Maduro is gone. But the reality is strange. The new leader, Rodriguez, is arresting opposition leaders. Repression continues. But at the very same time, she's signing privatization deals with U.S. oil companies.
Look very closely at that. That is the uncomfortable truth of the new system. The U.S. condemned the arrests in a press release and signed the oil contracts.
So the goal wasn't a transition to democracy. It was a transition to efficiency.
Precisely. The global system doesn't care about democracy. It doesn't care about your rights. It cares about one thing, flow. It needs the oil to flow. If a dictator signs the contract and keeps the oil flowing, the dictator stays.
And how does that apply to the listener?
Apply that cold logic to your own life. The system, your government, your employer, it will strip mine you for value, just like Venezuelan oil. But it will not protect you. It will not protect your pension. It will not protect your career from an AI agent. If you provide efficient value, you stay. If you don't, you're purged.
This is a stark picture. The war shock takes the money. The Claude crash takes the jobs. And the Venezuela lesson shows the system prioritizes flow over people.
So here's the challenge. The era of outsourcing your survival is over. You can't wait for the peace board to save you. They're stuck in a hotel in Cairo. You can't wait for the Fed to bail you out. Warsh is coming. You can't wait for HR to protect your job. They're buying the software that replaces you.
The vacuum is here.
No one is coming. When the grid gets shaky, when the money gets tight, when the job market dissolves, the only government left is you. So you have to stop asking, what will they do, and start asking, what will I do?
You're calling for a mindset shift. From citizen to something else entirely.
To a warlord warlord of your own resources, your own skills, your household, your finances, your skill set. That is your fortress now. You have to build a perimeter because the institutions aren't walls anymore. They're just turnstiles for capital. Are you a victim waiting for it to happen, or are you building a fortress?
This has been Neural Pulse. Clarity in a complex world.
Interpret the silence accordingly. Decide your move.